Professor Michael Oquaye.
Now, where the EC is expected to announce their final results and tell us who exactly will lead the NPP into the next elections. So, yes, once again, we're coming to you live from the residence of Professor Mike Oquaye, Senior, picking his perspectives on what he makes of the processes so far. Again, as the results keep coming in, we'll be reacting to some of it. At least from JoyNews, we have managed to certify about 98 out of the 277 results. What he thinks the party should also do in going forward. And for the other 4 candidates who may not make the pole position, what should they do? It's a pleasure to have you, Professor Michael Oquaye.
Thank you very much. You are most welcome.
Prof, I know that since morning you have been going around. We'll come to what exactly your observations were on the ground. But in 2023, you were the chairman of the vetting committee. You were at the thick of the affairs in the run-up to electing a presidential candidate for the NPP. If you juxtapose what 2023 looked at in 2025 or 2026, what do you make of the processes so far? Fair to everybody?
Oh, definitely fair to everybody. And that's the essence of all the arrangements that we came to. You know, the NPP is the lead of democracy in this country, traditionally. Today, as the party voted, there were over 200,000 voters. In the past, it was the business of only 10 from each constituency throughout the country. You can imagine how colossal the improvement has been. The idea is to democratize the party, the voting process, the participatory aspect of our democracy, and strengthen governance as a whole in our country. And largely, the NPP has been the trailblazer in this process, and we are proud of that process. Some few years ago, we identified a number of difficulties. You know, in the past, the police came to party elections more like observers. They were not in control as such. This time round, we had a system whereby the police was absolutely in charge of the security and the management of people at the polling stations, so that you could not go and say later that some people have outreached in any manner whatsoever, being party people. It was a very good idea, which we introduced a few years ago. No party security, no party person in charge of any process. It was something that some people didn't understand a few years ago, but which we had to do so that the genuineness of our electoral process will become something to write home about. And I'm glad to see Honorable Joe Wise doing such a wonderful job, following what had been laid down already and making sure that the Electoral Commission was in charge of all electoral matters, including even the choice of venue. The choice of venue, you will be surprised to hear, have sometimes been a source of big trouble and fights, because some people want to take the people into an enclosed room and maybe squeeze a few people's hands, whilst others also want it plain. Now we say it must be in the full glare of the public. Today I went to vote at my constituency up there at the Atomic School Park, and it was a beauty to behold. They had 4 main polling stands, and with reasonable distances. The internal parameter was well set out. When you got there, you met police people as well as electoral commission people. No party people were in charge. If you're a party person and you came there, you will be at the outer periphery. But inside the voting parameters, you could not enter until you have been admitted to go and vote. It is also a good thing for other parties to learn from, because you went there, you voted as a voter, and then you left like anybody else, like we used to do in our general elections. It was not a matter of people just behaving as if everybody was in charge here. And I think this is something that is very, very laudable and worthy of emulation for the democracy of our people.
So, overall, what would you rate it in terms of the organization? How would you rate it?
Oh, a human organization. In our country.
Before we come to today's event, the 5%, you said 95, so the remaining 5, where did they go wrong, or what did they have to improve on?
In fact, I have not been to everywhere. Okay. And we are talking within what in social science we talk the general limits of human error. If you look at the fact that man is not perfect, then 95% is a real distinction. That's what I mean. I've marked papers all over the world, you know.
Okay. So, additionally, let's talk about the campaign process in itself. I mean, it's been months of campaign with all 5 candidates crisscrossing the country, trying to get over 200,000 delegates to believe in their message and effectively today choose them as the person to lead the party. What would you make of the campaign? So we had a lot of bickering, backbiting, a lot of argument, a lot of conversations here and there. Even on the day of signing the supposed peace pact, had some conversation. What do you make of the campaigning process?
It was murky sometimes. We as leaders, on many occasions, the Council of Elders, the National Council itself, individuals came in, spoke with these contestants. The principal message being, we are only out here to choose a candidate. We are not electing a president yet. When you take out this elected leader to Ghana as a whole, then of course you expect that a different campaign will apply. If we have brought a candidate who is already wounded, decimated, dissipated by internal encounters, then what do you think we are doing to ourselves? Especially when even some of the things that were said against individuals were not verifiable or were not true, but they became just what one may call just campaign talk. That is not the real standard of the NPP. And it is good this was held quite early so that all cracks can be healed before the election really comes on. And let me just emphasize, this is not a bottom-down approach. We wanted an early Congress, among other things, to stop this kind of bickering and so on and so forth. It was within the constitutional framework that we could hold that election at this time. And if we are holding it early at this time, what do? Those people who already have the mandate to choose a presidential candidate are already there to choose. On top of that, in view of the need for enlargement, a whole lot of people were also added to the process, and it all went beautifully. Can you imagine a former chairman of a constituency not voting when there is a vote in his constituency, and yet is active and has even become a patron within the constituency? So all these, what we call unfortunate gaps, were filled, and there was a new enthusiasm. I can see the possibility of even a larger process in due course to make all our followers happy, participatory in the process, and then going along in 3 years' time to win an election.
Interesting. So, from your point of view, the campaign, at least from the 5 gentlemen that were seeking to lead the party, was murky. That only means that, okay.
In some regards, and we all know that in Ghana, we cannot sit here and tell lies. I mean, yes, some of the arguments were not called for. But nevertheless, I would say I congratulate all 5 gentlemen. It's not been an easy cause. They've fought a good fight. At the end of the day, all 5 can't win. Even 2 can't win. is only one who will win. I trust that after today, all the 5 will come on board, such that those who have won, the person who has won, will embrace those who have lost, and those who have also lost will graciously think of the higher interest of the party and work towards our forward march.
So let's talk about the numbers that we are getting so far. At least from the JoyNews, what we managed to collect so far is 123 out of the 277. As it stands now, Dr. Bawumia has about 53,000 votes. Also, Kennedy Japan, 21,000 votes. And then Brian, with some 14,000. And then we have Educhumu, some 1,000. And then Kwabena Japan also has some votes in there. Is this what you, are you one of those who were looking out for something similar like this?
Well, you'll see that there's a pattern, a very clear pattern, and that pattern is a national pattern. In other words, the person who is leading across the entire country, generally speaking. And it tells you one thing: Ghana is quite a homogeneous country. Tribalism is not our lifestyle. If a person wins so largely across the country, it's a good sign. A sign that the people as a whole have spoken. They have spoken irrespective of whether a person belongs to a certain tribe or not. I personally like to see such things. That generality and commonality of the voting pattern across the country also shows that we are not voting upon certain religious lines by which you will find that certain parts of the country tend to be more of one particular religion or the other. That is also good. It tells you that we are people who can rise above some of these things that cause conflicts in other countries. I'm particularly happy about that. And from now, it will be easy to say that Ghanaians will not vote on tribalistic lines nor on religious lines, but upon what they believe are the qualities of a particular person who they want to lead the country into better governance and better development.
You believe this is solely on the message they preach to the people and not the handouts that we've confirmed all over the country that people received monies from all 5, or at least all 5 candidates?
I will not be able to vouch for monies received. But one thing that you know that I've spoken strongly against monocracy in our politics. And I really wish that, just like the Constitutional Amendment Committee has made certain recommendations in that regard, we will take steps to stamp out monocracy in our country. It is not a good thing. And you should ask that in such matters, what is the vision of the man you want to elect? It doesn't matter who has got more money, because nobody can share his money among Ghanaians and we shall prosper. Who? So that money matter, it should be eschewed. And rather, you want to let us know how you are going to manage our economy, our industry, how we are going to be able, by our agricultural performance, to feed ourselves, how we will cater for food, clothing, and shelter, which are the principal things that human beings need, apart from, of course, education and medication. When you give us viable plans that will lift Ghana up, when you are able to tell us how you will manage our mineral resources in such a way that we will no more be begging those who come to exploit these minerals to their own advantage, but that it will be to the best advantage of the Ghanaian people. These are policy-oriented issues, and I'll be glad if these become the quintessence of the campaign in Ghana as a whole in the near future.
Okay. So, based on the numbers that we are seeing so far, how significant will this change the party whilst you are working towards 2028? Is this what you've all been praying for?
I personally am happy about the commonality of a person leading throughout the country. It means we are one people, one destiny, and it's very, very important. If that happens, then in future, when any good person emerges, any brilliant person with good ideas emerges, it doesn't matter whether he's from Western Ghana or Eastern Ghana or Accra or the middle part of Ghana or the northern part of Ghana, but what is the qualitative essence of that person? And what ideas, beliefs, and values is that person bringing into our governance and our development? When we really mature more in this process, I think it will make things better for Ghana.
Let me ask you directly, should Bawumia win, is he what the MPP needs to win 2028?
Well, now it looks as if he's winning throughout the country, generally speaking, from the figures that we are seeing on the TV right now before us. If that is the end result, it approximates to about 60%, more or less. When that happens, I think we should settle everything and then together move along with the leader of the next election in favor of the NPP and win the election.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that the campaign appears a bit acrimonious to some extent. Whoever wins, how would you suggest the person goes ahead to unite, especially the sort of fractured MPP from the 2024 right to the campaigning process, right, becoming to presidential candidates? How would you say the person should try and heal the party?
There are difficulties. There should be a healing process, but it is not fractured. Maybe there are a few lacerations, if I may beg from the medical language, a few lacerations here and there, or contusions as well, but there is no fracture. And in that connection, I trust that we will manage things quite well. And the elders will also play a healing a role in the process.
So how would you, for instance, advise whoever wins today's elections to, say, bring the remaining 4 people to the table? What should he be doing if he had to do one thing to keep them together? What should he do?
In victory, be gracious. In victory, be gracious. After all, you have won. There have been a lot of difficulties in party politics in Ghana because this person did not support me. This person, even though competent, don't give him the position of so and so. Why? Because he supported somebody else during the primaries. It does not help Ghana. If that is the best man for the job, give the job to him and let the party move on. After all, we are not only all Ghanaians, but we are also all of the MPP fraternity. And I want that this should become a serious aspect of our governance. This kind of discriminating internally among us, because a person supported or did not support a candidate, does not augur well for us.
Okay. So, whilst we are also trying to wrap up here, I know that you also led a team that went around the country after the 2024 defeat to the NDC, trying to collate, try to find out what exactly may have happened to the NPP going into that elections. Largely, this report hasn't come out. But does what is happening right now fit into that report and recommendations that you gave to the party at the time?
Thank you very much. I was chairman of the committee. It was a high-powered committee with all manner of experienced people thereon. We had academics who did research. There was a desk research unit. We had others who accompanied us actually to the grounds. I traveled to many of the constituencies in Greater Accra with me, Honorable Gifty Kusi, and other members of the team over here. We went everywhere. The committee had a group in Ashanti, throughout the country. So really, we came to gather what were the real causative factors for our difficulty. And then, of course, the recommendations that were given unto us by way of the therapeutic aspects of the process, we did that also as well. And then we presented the recommendations. You talk about the report not having come out. It has come out to the appropriate people. It has come out it's not meant to be published in the Daily Graphic, nor to be given to Joy FM.
I mean, we would have appreciated if you gave us something.
It's not possible. You know, such reports, those who commission the report, those are the people who report to. It was not within my power, nor that of any other persons, honestly speaking, to start talking about a report. And I must tell you, on the day of presentation, the time was 2 p.m. at the party office at a hotel. You know, we left our camp at 12 noon, having just printed one copy for the party chairman and the National Council, which we presented to them, of course, with a commentary that I made a summation, by way of a summation to the National Council as a whole. After that, nobody else has a copy. If the committee if the report should ever leak, which I don't expect, otherwise it would have leaked now, it must be the business of the party chairman or the party secretary only. And they are the appropriate people now to work along as National Council, together with all the people who are there, including all our former presidents who are all part of it, to come out with whatever they want. But let me add, we did not take the position of those who were bringing in or trying to smuggle in religious and ethnic factors. Because they were not there scientifically as part of the process. And our position, which we briefed the National Council on, has come out clearly in this. You get my point. And it is very, very important that when people in the future are commissioned to do such work, don't bring in extraneous matters, maybe just to satisfy certain gossips or certain people, but go to the truth and come out clearly and plainly with the truth, all the truth, and nothing but the truth.
So the choice of the delegates today is one of the recommendations that you made to the party at that time?
No, I'm saying that the outcome today shows, one, the generality of the support of the winner throughout the country. So it's not an ethnic matter. Two, it also defeats those who are trying to steal into the process a religious connotation. And we are proud that this has shown clearly how truthful our position has been.
I'm grateful. So final question here. Can Bawumia win the 2028 elections for the MPP?
Definitely he can.
Given all the people who saw him as vice president in the country, who are still in the country, by the way. And don't forget that he's the one the NDC is also asking you to make flag bearer. Okay.
When the MPP don't want, the NDC don't want him, I don't expect them to, because he will beat them. If you put achievements, ideas introduced, policies that were really brought about by the Bawumia, he is the best of all vice presidents in the history of this country since the Fourth Republic.
Prof, I'm grateful. For the sake of time, unfortunately, we may have to